I'm not a very technological person, and I'm definitely not very skilled with computers. However, I did dedicate about 2 hours to try and download Tor, using as many YouTube tutorials as I could get my hands on. I wasn't interested in deep web surfing or trying to find anything sick or perverted. I just wanted to get my hands on some drugs as soon as possible. I was a pretty big junkie, trying to get my hands on what I could. Oxycodone and meth were my personal favorites. Not only did I need to satisfy my own substance craving, I needed to fill in the money pit I've fallen into. Getting wasted at my local bar every night while working a minimum wage job consumes a large part of my weekly paycheck. The only other fast and easy income I knew I could get was through selling drugs, and most people I talked to recommended the deep web to me. I didn't really know what it was at first, so I did my research and read a lot of stories. I was nervous, but knew most of the nasty crap wasn't true, and that I wouldn't see it as long as I wasn't looking for it, unless it would find me. So I booted Tor and went straight to the hidden wiki and started looking at the different drug marketplaces, and I must say I was impressed. Some had sections for all different substances, while other sites focused on providing specific drugs like marijuana or psychedelics. I found one marketplace that was selling both oxy and meth, and I decided to stay on this site longer, for about 10 minutes. I browsed the whole marketplace, but I was more interested in their oxy and meth. After converting currencies, I realized I could make a decent profit reselling this if I bought from this website. Remembering the name of it, I was all set to log out and go on with my day. I slid my cursor over to the red dot to close the window, when suddenly a new one popped up. It was small and almost blank, except for one line. "Are you sure you want to leave just yet, sir?" I wouldn't say this was jaw-dropping, but it was definitely a surprise to me. Two parts of this sentence came off strange to me, almost like he was standing over my shoulder. How did he know I was a male, and how did he know I was about to leave? Nervously, I responded, "Sadly, I have a few decisions to make before I buy anything." "Well, don't take too long. We like people that come back, Colin." Seeing them type my name was enough to get me to shut down my computer and not turn it back on for another week. The only issue is that I didn't choose to go back voluntarily. About a week following the weird incident, I had just gotten off of work and was pretty happy. Sitting behind a cash register all day made me hate people, and I just wanted to get home and relax. Maybe pop an oxy or two while I'm at it. On the train ride home, my phone buzzed in my pocket. Friends of mine were very limited, and I was not very close with my family. Pulling out my ancient iPhone, the 3GS to be exact, I didn't recognize the number at all. It was not my area code. I surely realized who this was quickly, once I read the message that made me gasp. "Hey, I took you to be a man of your word. I believed you when you said you would come back. It's been a week and I haven't seen your IP log onto the site. What gives?" At the next stop, about 3 before my stop, my phone found a new home on the train tracks after it was violently smashed into a steel handle. Being paranoid the rest of the trip home, I cautiously entered my apartment building and approached my door to find a new phone and a note on the door. It simply said, "We all get second chances. Make the right choice. Don't call the police." Not knowing what to do anymore, I simply complied with the note. Throughout the night, the thought of revisiting the marketplace to end this became all too real. There seemed like no other option, really. This person knew who I was, had my information, and doesn't have any difficulty finding me wherever I go. Around 11, I finally turned on my computer and loaded Tor. I went onto the marketplace and bought the two substances I was going to buy in the first place, oxycodone and meth. I figured these guys were good at hiding their shit, but I had it shipped under a fake name to a house about 4 blocks away that I knew was abandoned. It was boarded up, not well kept, and had a no trespassing sign on the front door. I made my payment. I waited a little while longer for this person to say something to me, but they said nothing. I thought I was in the clear. I followed this guy's instructions, bought his products. Have a nice day. Seems like a logical business deal, right? Nope. It's been about 2 weeks since I placed my order now. The package got dropped off at the abandoned house in about 2 days. Some of it was sold to cover my ass financially. Some I used myself, because that's what addicts do. But what I feared most of all has happened. Today, once I got home from work, I had 2 messages from the same number from before. The first message read, "Looks like you enjoyed my product. Now you have a reason to come back. I'll be expecting you, so don't keep me waiting." The second message was a collage of pictures of me. One of me holding the box the drugs were shipped in, one of me at work, one of me sleeping, one of me looked like it came directly from my webcam, like when I was buying his shit. I'm borderline ready to call the police, but at the same time, I don't want to have some lunatic after me. I think I'll make him wait to test his patience. I'll keep you updated. Alright, there's a lot to fill you in on. I don't think anyone can see me in here, but I won't stay too long. Sure enough, he noticed that I was blatantly ignoring the warning he issued me in my last update. So it's a definite that either himself or someone else is watching me. Let me tell you, this is one impatient guy. I'm not even out of drugs yet. I've got enough oxy left for myself and made a good chunk of cash off that meth, which I still have a little bit left of. Look, after I finally decided to go and buy this guy's products, I was only intending to do it once, buy a lot of drugs at once, make money off them, keep some for myself. He makes a profit, I make a profit, and we both have a happy ending. But, as usual, things just don't want to go my way. Anyways, once I saw the message and pictures that were at the end of my last update, I decided to get the hell out of my house. I didn't want to be alone and easy to be singled out, so I walked about 6 or 7 blocks to the bar I typically drank at. It was a small place that mostly locals went to after work. There was probably no more than 20 people in the place, but it was like a second home to me. Coming here for the first time in about a week wasn't to get pissed drunk or blow off some steam. I wanted to see how far this guy would go. I thought he was crazy already after forcing me to buy drugs off the deep web, but how badly does he need me as a customer? I'm sure there's plenty of college kids ordering off this guy's website on the daily. Anyways, around 10 I was still in the bar working down another beer when I noticed someone that walked in, as did most of the other guys in the bar. A young lady, no older than 25, skinny, blonde, and rather tall with a stunning body, came up next to me to order a drink. The idea struck me, and it was a long shot, but I thought about bringing her home. Obviously, I didn't know if she'd leave with a guy like me, but anything was possible, so I turned to her and we hit it off really well. We talked and did a few shots in between, and by midnight, she said yes to coming back home with me. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary yet. We got back and got down to business. I've never been one to brag about my sexual experiences. If you're that curious, then use your imagination. After we finished, we just lied there in my bed. She seemed like she was asleep, and I was pretty happy, so I decided to not wake her up and let her stay the night. I should have woken her up, but I haven't had company in a while. I think it was around 3 when I woke up to find the girl absent from her spot next to me in bed. I figured she had gotten up to go to the bathroom or something, but it was pretty clear that another person was in my kitchen. Confused and still half asleep, I walked to my bedroom door and looked down the hallway to see, not 1, but 2 people in my kitchen. Thankfully, they had their backs to me, or they would have noticed me. The kitchen light was dimly lit, making it hard to see, but the girl was talking to a man. He may have been shorter than the girl, but this didn't make him a small guy. I could see his shirt wrap around his arm muscles and show off his arm contours. His hair was a greasy black, with some gray hair here and there, probably in his early 40s. Hearing them clearly talk about me and how much I had left of the oxy and meth I ordered last week, I assumed this was the guy who was sending me the messages. Why else would he be here? Not knowing what else to do, I quickly backed into my room and quietly opened my dresser. I kept a decent-sized machete under my clothes in the bottom drawer, in case someone ever broke in. Grasping it in one hand, I entered the kitchen. "What the fuck is going on here?" I exclaimed, as the two individuals laid eyes on me. A slight grin spread onto the man's face. "Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Colin. Are you the creep that's been stalking me?" He laughed. "I'm just a businessman looking to secure customers. Sometimes risks have to be taken." At this point, I wanted both of them out of my house and life, forever. "Why are you here? Just let me move on with my life." See, it's not that simple. My customers always come back to me, and I'll do what it takes to keep it that way. Now you have a few choices. We will promptly make sure you purchase from me again, and continue to do so. As long as you regularly do, you won't see my face ever again. Your second option involves running out this door to the police, telling them everything you know, most likely being held in a cell for purchasing illegal substances, and you'll see me again when I'm placed in a cell with you. You've got better odds at living by dealing with option 1. The floor is yours. Trying to process everything this fucking freak just told me, I made a break for the door. I burst out the door, threw my machete, and just ran. I ran past the bar, not thinking about stopping by. My initial thought was to just run to the police. This guy is just bluffing. There's no way I can get fucked in this situation. He forced me to do all of that stuff and has been stalking me. But the further I ran, the harder I thought. The thought of being arrested hit me hard. I hadn't been arrested since I was 19, when I got caught smoking pot in the back of my car. I slowed down and calmly entered a 24-hour convenience store. I started writing this once I got into the bathroom. I don't know if I should play it safe and tell the police, or risk it all and play this guy's game. I don't know. I just don't know. I've been taking into consideration some suggestions made by others to me, especially the ones insisting that I play this guy's game and win. Well, I've always had it in me to be eager to take on adventures. Ever since I was a teenager in high school, I was doing lots of stupid but thrilling stuff. So congrats to those who told me to steer from law enforcement and play his game, because I decided I have nothing to lose in that bathroom stall. After an hour of hiding out and thinking, I unlocked my phone, found the mysterious number that was messaging me, and called it. No answer. Called the number about 4 more times to the same response. Confused, I decided to just head back to my apartment to see if the guy was still there. After an exhausting walk back, I arrived at the front of my apartment building. The sun had just barely broken above the horizon. I unlocked the front door. It appears that the italic text above is about as far as our good friend Colin got with his little adventures. Whether you like it or not, I'll finish the series for him and explain why his situation led to the current result. Colin was a nobody in life. I had never personally met him until he approached me with the machete he described in an earlier update of his. He may appear to be a confident individual that wasn't afraid to take risks in life, but in reality, he was no braver than a young teenage girl entering a haunted house. The second he was forced to his knees, he begged and pleaded, and screamed and cried like a teenage girl. His balls were like eggs, a shell hiding the soft center. It wasn't even a hard shell either. This guy broke down faster than anyone else who had betrayed me. Colin didn't care about anyone else in life but himself. He was a parasite. He had spent his life using people to better his own life and decrease the quality of life for others. Money, substances, sexual activity, and pride were his main motives. He would secretly steal his parents' credit and debit cards, using them to buy whatever made him happy, and was smart enough to get away with it. He never had a steady relationship, probably because all he saw in women was sex. He had no friends. They all realized how manipulative this man was, and they all deserted him. Colin was kicked out of college for a sexual assault accusation, which the file showed to be pretty believable, to say the least. He was useless in life. He contributed nothing to society. He used valuable resources that could have been used by more useful and more intelligent individuals that want to better the world and their own community. He was a waste of life. The only reason why I even bothered to involve myself into his life was because he indirectly begged me to. When he first browsed my marketplace, looking for whatever substances he was looking to buy, I was able to spend quite a bit of time researching Colin and realizing that this man was a waste of space. I did what I could to get into his head and involve myself in his life so I could perform more research. Once I knew enough about this man, I decided to proceed and put the target on his back. I'll explain the rest of the story that Colin was unfortunately unable to finish. So, as you can tell, Colin didn't call the police. I knew exactly where he was. I knew he wasn't going to call the police or tell anyone about his situation. At this point, he was so messed up in the head by the entire situation that he believed it was his duty to win. He came back to his apartment hours after we had already left. I knew he was going to try and kill me too. He spent the next few days preparing to do it, thinking that I wouldn't notice the transaction on his credit card. He fell into a trap, to say the very least. He thought it was as simple as inviting me into an empty apartment and blowing my brains out from exactly 216 yards away. That's the exact distance the idiot was from his apartment. The simplicity of my plan was too great. To be honest with you, $500 could get anyone to walk into this guy's apartment, and one unlucky soul did. He wandered into Colin's apartment, unaware that he was about to be shot dead in cold blood. The poor fellow didn't even see it coming. Boom! A bullet broke through the second-story window, piercing the man's heart and killing him instantly. He had literally set himself up. He walked over to his apartment, and by the time he realized that it wasn't me, the police were already up the steps. So, Colin is going to rot in a maximum security jail cell for the rest of his life until he hangs himself or gets a shank to the neck. So that's the end of this series. Sorry it's not the ending that you expected or wanted, but you get what you get.